Coach, what was the first thing that attracted you here? Both in your preliminary, the chance you had to look at the program, and then once you chance you had to see the program.
Well, I think it's important. It's been my dream to be a head football coach for a long time. I think you got to find the right fit. I had a chance to be in this state from a recruiting standpoint for the last 4 or 5 years. And certainly there's a buzz about the commitment level with this institution and this university. Having a chance to get to know Brian throughout the process and some of his staff, it was immediate. There was a commitment here. There's alignment here. And there's tremendous passion just within the fan base. And I know what type of community that we have here. So you're looking for the right fit. You're looking for a great place for your family. Obviously we've got young children. And we wanted to be at a place where we could settle down and raise them. And certainly there's great people here, and we're excited about being here and being around that. So I think it was about fit. I think there's commitment here. I think there's alignment here.
Dave Schultz, 1037 The Game. What kind of offense are you going to run? And is Rob Sale, Louisiana native, coming with you?
Yeah, I think the important thing that we'll probably start with is assessing what personnel we've got on the team. I think it's critical that you adjust to the personnel that you have. You play to those strengths. But we'll be at no huddle. We're going to vary the tempo that we play with, but we want to be first and foremost known for our physical brand of football. We want to play with great effort. We want to be disciplined in our approach. We want to put a product out there that our fans and our alumni can be proud of. So as far as staff is concerned, I think we'll have a couple announcements here in the near future for you. We're certainly going to put together a dynamic staff that are going to be great teachers, great recruiters, and have tremendous integrity.
Coach, Bruce Brown, Quick Slants Magazine. Your budget is going to be more than any other school in the Sun Belt Conference as far as assistant coaches. And for yourself, what does this say to the commitment of the university to this program, and how are you going to back that up?
Well, I think that was a big part of the decision. I think Brian, in my opinion, is a true professional. I think he and Dr. Savoy's commitment, their ability to be on the same page, I think they understand, they get what needs to be done to make that next step. And certainly, we're excited about the quality of staff that we'll be able to put together. So I truly believe that your coaches and your support people and their approach and their investment into the players is ultimately what decides whether you win or lose. And hopefully we can not only win on the field, but we can win off the field as well.
Hey, Billy, James Hughes with the Daily Advertiser. Do you plan to handle play calling, or do you plan to delegate that to one of your assistants?
Yes, I will handle the play call, and I'll run the offense. And I think that's part of that for me, just to be very honest, is I love to do it. I love the competition. I love the strategy that goes with that. And first and foremost, I love the interaction with the players. But certainly are going to make a deliberate attempt to be involved with the defense and be around the defensive players as well.
Coach, George Faust, KLFY. Just curious, obviously you're an offensive-minded guy, but talk a little bit about the defense. That was a point of concern last season. How do you intend to address that this year?
Well, my experience is that, to play winning football, all three phases need to work together. And certainly it's not necessarily just game day. I think it's a year-round plan, how you practice, how you install, how you put your off-season program together, the evaluation process and recruiting. I'm excited about the staff that I believe we're going to be able to put together on that side of the ball. But certainly I think it's about a quality working relationship. I think we all know what winning football looks like. We're going to define that for our players. And we're going to go about trying to put that product together with a specific plan, phase after phase in the offseason.
Coach Scott Prather, ESPN 1420. What do you think the national perception of this program is, and where do you want it to be 2 years from now?
Well, like I said before, expectations I don't think you operate within the expectations. I think you got to really live by principle. I think I know what it takes. I think our focus is going to be on the quality work that we do each day when we show up. But I think people know what this place is capable of. I think that obviously this is a big statement, the level of commitment that's been made here. But again, it goes back to staying really focused on our process and our regimen with our players and our staff. We're going to move one step at a time, and hopefully when we get to the games, we'll have a good team that we can put out there that you guys will be proud of.
Coach, with the early signing period this year, how will you approach that since it's only a couple of days away?
Well, I spent a lot of the morning really evaluating some of the key guys for that decision. We're going to have a handful of guys sign, hopefully. We may not have any sign, but that's not a concern really for me at this point. I'm going to focus on the next 50 days, making sure that we answer the needs that we have with our current roster in February. So we're behind. I think everybody understands that to some degree, but as we put our staff together, we'll have a very specific plan. We'll go execute that plan. And I think college football coaches in general are trying to figure out what approach should be taken to this December 20th signing day. So we'll continue to evaluate that. We'll do a great job next year when we get there.
Billy, it seemed like there was some conflicting reports about whether or not you'd be staying with Arizona State for the bowl game. Can you clarify that for us?
Yeah, I'm not going to coach the bowl game. I think, really just first and foremost, it was about my family. I wanted to make sure that their transition was really smooth. Coach Graham has been outstanding throughout this entire process. And that's one thing I probably failed to recognize earlier. I can't thank Coach Graham enough for the opportunity that he gave me. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the players that I worked with this year, and the staff. That's probably one of the more difficult things I've had to do in my career is to walk in that offensive room and tell those guys I was leaving. We certainly made great progress and had tremendous relationships there, and I'm excited for those guys moving forward.
Seth Lewis, KATC TV3. Whenever there's a coaching change, there's talk of a lot of movement maybe within a program. How much is also recruiting some of the players that are on the roster to convince them to stay? Well,
in my opinion, this is probably the most important thing that we will do is really getting to know each player on the roster. I think that's critical, that we build that trust, that we establish that strong sense of communication. And it's going to come down to relationships. They've got a sense that you've got a genuine appreciation for what they do, how hard they work. They've got to know that you've got their best interests in mind. And I think that when they see the type of men that we're going to bring in here on this staff to be around them, I think they'll get an appreciation for what we're about. And everywhere I've been, when you make this transition, that's the most critical part. We need to gain their trust. And they need to know that we're going to put them in position to be successful.
Coach Cody Juneau, ESPN 1420. Come January, the NCAA is going to allow a 10th assistant. How do you plan to use that staff spot?
Well, I anticipate putting the staff already knowing that we're going to have 10 assistants. So we're going to split the staff. We'll have 5 on defense and 5 on offense. Somewhere in there will be a special teams coordinator. I'll be heavily involved with the quarterbacks. And I think that's only right, given my background, that I would be involved with the quarterback. So I think we're going to be able to put together a quality group and dedicate 5 assistants on defense. We'll probably split up the linebackers. We'll split up the secondary. And I think that'll give us a good group there. We'll have more people than most staffs do on defense in the future.
Coach, Raymond Parch with the Daily Iberian. You've worked for 2 of the most accomplished and revered national championship winning coaches in the game. What kind of lessons have you learned from Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney that you are going to apply to your own career as a head coach?
I think Coach Saban, often it gets overlooked what type of teacher he is. I think he's a quality teacher. I think he really understands what the objective is in college football. I think he's got a great plan for the players, not only from a football standpoint, but just in general, how to put the entire big picture organization together. And I think that's why he's had his run of the mill wherever he's been. You know, Dabo, to me, Dabo is he's himself. You know, if I had to say anything about Dabo, he's comfortable in his own skin. He's going to do his thing. He's going to do it his way. But certainly a great leader, someone that's genuine, consistent in his approach. And both of those guys have put their programs together with a core set of principles and values, things that they believe in, things that they think are, they want to establish their identity. They're not going to drift too far from that. And I think they do a really good job of defining the expectation for everybody in the building, the player and the staff. So those are the things that we plan to do here. And certainly appreciative of both of those men and the opportunity that it gave me.
Coach, what is sort of your timeline over the next couple of weeks?
You know, we're going to work really the next couple of days. I think it's important that we kind of try to close the deal with 4 or 5 guys here for the December 20th to 22nd signing period. We're going to sit down with all the people here that were on staff last year. I think it's important that everybody knows that there's a lot of men here that did a good job. They did a quality job, and we're going to give them their opportunity to sit down with me. So not only the guys that coached on the field, but a lot of the support staff as well. And once we do that, we'll kind of transition to putting together our staff and managing recruiting at the same time. But first and foremost, in 4 or 5 days, we're going back to Arizona to do a little Christmas down here. So I'm excited about that. And then obviously we'll get the family moved down. I'll come back after Christmas and we'll start working. You got it.
Let me I just want to pass on a little story from last night when we were talking and how he fits into the system. He gave me a commitment to start calling him Coach Napier, so we're going to start doing that.